What's up, Zer0 Division Members, and welcome to my review for Volume 35 of Berserk. This volume overall was pretty enjoyable, but let's jump right into it. The first chapter of this volume was definitely live reaction worthy. It carries on from Volume 34, and it finally ends the Falconia arc, the Millennium of the Falcon arc. And the way it ends this arc is by giving Griffith his own kingdom. Now, I've been saying this from the very beginning, that the whole mock eclipse was to bring Griffith back into the physical world and give him his own kingdom and rule over Midland and whatnot, and possibly the world. And this is what happens at the end of this volume. He gets his own kingdom, known as Falconia, the capital of the Hawk. And it was very interesting seeing him point forward, and as he points, everybody, human and demons, apostles included, go strolling into Falconia after it rised up from the ashes. Everybody thought this might have been the ancient kingdom, of Gyseric, but it's too large to be that, people were saying. That's what Minister False said. And as they go in there, the chapter ends. The whole, Millennium of the Falcon, Falconia arc is finished, and we begin the Fantasia arc. Which, honestly, I have mixed feelings about this new arc, but at the same time, I'm very intrigued to see the story of this island that Guts and his crew and Roderick end up on. But to get back to Falconia real quick and finish that up, my thoughts on that, I enjoyed that chapter, that arc of Berserk a lot. And it all began with the Conviction arc, with, Griffith becoming allowed into the physical world and whatnot. Now, after we've seen like the different god hands in the end of volume 34, we don't see them in volume 35 at all. So I'm still wondering if they're in this new world and they're allowed to be in this new world, or if they have limited time in there, since the world of fantasy and now the world of physical are merged together and there's a new world. What I really liked was the symbolism, and I might just be, reaching here, but basically at the beginning, where the door is, where everybody's going in, we see griffins with like Roman type warriors behind them, and then behind them are like hawks or falcons with their wings spread. And I kind of feel like that says the falcons or the hawks with their wings spread behind the griffins and the warriors are the civilians, and basically the griffins and the warriors are protecting the civilians. At least that's what I took from it, and I thought that was pretty neat, a neat little bit of symbolism as to what Falconia might be about, because we don't know exactly what it's all about. We just seen it basically erect itself, and people go into it, and that's it. Then we cut over to Guts and his group, sailing the seven seas like they were, and we see how this eerie wind, which we know it as the wind of change, has spread throughout the world, every nook and cranny, and it has brought these Fantasia creatures into the physical world. And what is interesting is how it's already affecting Guts and Roderick's journey on the Seven Seas. And this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see how it was going to affect our main cast. And we are seeing this with these different, fantastical sea creatures roaming the sea and everything underneath the ships, the pirates coming back, and the pirates now no longer being human, but part of this sea god, which is apparently linked to this island that they come to as well. And I'm kind of confused as if the sea god is inside that ship, the ghost ship, or if the ghost ship is just part of the sea god. It's like one of its minions. And I want to go with the latter. I want to say that the ghost ship is part, is a minion in one of the sea gods' like arms and tentacles and whatnot. We see how the civilians of the island are now tentacles of the sea god. They were eaten by the sea god, and now they're tentacles of the sea god, and basically they're trying to turn Guts and his crew into tentacles as well. Obviously, I'm going to assume that the wind of change went through this island. It reawakened the sea god, allowing it to go and eat the civilians of the island, because we get to hear a story from Isma, a new character, which I sort of like. I think she's cool. She's very, what's the word? She's very loose. She's very rural. She doesn't have much human activity and interaction. And the way she acts is she's very loose. So it kind of like spurns Isidro on to always be looking down her chest and everything. It's very interesting to see how Isidro interacts with Isma, and same with Shirke interacting with Isma as well. And it's good to see them being able to interact with another person of their age, basically, because, Isidro and Shirke are always with adults, and now they're getting to interact with children, and it was cool to see that as well when they interacted with Sonya too. back in one of the earlier arcs when they first encountered the pirates who were trying to make an honest living. But I like the character. And basically, she tells a story about Meros, which are, I'm going to assume, mermaids, had a battle with the sea god, like, ages ago, and pretty much contained the sea god on the island that they're on currently. So, obviously, the Wind of Change more than likely came through, reawakened the sea god, allowed the sea god to eat the civilians, and now the civilians of this island, these fishermen, are its tentacles and arms and whatnot. And this is causing a problem for Guts and his crew because now they have to deal with this whole sea god and whatnot. At the end, Guts puts on the Berserker armor after Magnifico basically says, you know, put on the armor, even though he's not supposed to. And he does it anyway, even before Shirkei's there. And he starts tearing through everything, which is absolutely awesome because it's always good to see Guts in the Berserker armor, even though we know what's going to happen afterwards, that he might lose all his shit and basically go after his comrades. But he needs to wear this Berserker armor to take out all these sea slugs, all these minions of the sea god. Now, I would like to see what the sea god looks like, but I guess we're going to see that in a later volume. I think we only have 36 or 37 left, and I don't know if 36 or 37 is going to conclude this sea god arc. I don't know. But, and I don't know if we're even going to get to Puck's Homeland yet, which is kind of a disappointment knowing that 37 is the end of the physical volume releases in America, and there's only a few chapters after volume 37 that I can read online, which I will be doing chapter reviews for that anyway. But Shirkei arrives on the scene and sees Guts in the Berserker armor, and she's like, oh no, you know, and Yzma's like, oh, there's sea hares, and they're like, aren't they sea slugs? But she's all like, excited about it, even though she doesn't, you know, she doesn't realize how much danger there is right in that moment. Like, this danger is contained all around Guts and his crew, and Guts is in the Berserker armor, which is trouble in itself as well. But I like seeing Guts in the Berserker armor, even though I know about the consequences. So overall, the volume was not bad. It was enjoyable. There was moments of comedy. There was moments of, you know, intrigue. There was moments of where I was just like, wow, like, that's fucking crazy. Like, for example, when Guts comes up and when the pirates first show up and Roderick's like, we might even need our guest in the cabin, and as they're all fighting these things, we see like Guts' point of view coming up from the cabin. He sees the light and he comes up onto the top, and he's thinking to himself, you know, he's up on the deck, and he starts doing work against these sea creatures, and I'm like, dude, how badass is Guts? Like, I've said this so many times, but the way they executed him coming up to the deck of the ship and then just being like, time for me to do battle, man. And he's like, the sea breeze hasn't rusted any of my parts and stuff. And he even uses a new move where he shoots the cannon and it causes, like, from the recoil, he can do like a spin slash, kind of like Link from Legend of Zelda, how he does his spin slash. He does a spin slash using the recoil of the cannon. So Guts is sort of almost back to 100%, even though he's not, but he's in better shape, and we're seeing just how much he's learned from his battles and whatnot, because we've never seen him do a spin slash using the recoil of his cannon. We've seen him use the recoil of his cannon to do a slash, but nothing like a new technique like that. So it was really interesting to see. But just little things like that made this volume enjoyable, and I really am interested in seeing more about this island and this sea god and whatnot. I just hope that it doesn't drag on and get boring. I hope that we get some. I hope we get this. I want this arc to be a little bit more faster paced, so we can get back to Falconia or even get to, you know, Puck's homeland of Elfhelm, instead of focusing on this more. Like, I don't want this to drag out as much as, I believe, the Fairy Queen, you know, that arc sort of was drug out a little bit, at least from what I can remember. I could be wrong. But either way, my point is, I don't want this arc to be drug out too much. I would like it to end in the next volume, volume 36, because we already know there's a sea god. They're on the sea god's island, so what more can really happen besides them fighting the sea god after they get rid of this ghost ship and these dead pirates and whatnot? But what are your thoughts on the volume, guys? Leave them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the review. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. I would greatly appreciate it. But that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next Berserk volume review. Only got 2 more left. Kind of sad, but what are you going to do?